Hi guys, with the Tories on their way out and Labour on their way in, there has been a lot of talk about what Keir Starmer can do about Brexit. Now, during a discussion at Trade Unlocked, David Lammy, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, was asked ironically by a Daily Telegraph journalist about Brexit and a veterinary agreement in particular. Now, the EU ruled it out back in 2020 during the negotiations with Boris Johnson's administration, but Labour believe they can get one. Have a listen to what David had to say.
It's James Crisp here from the Daily Telegraph. During the Brexit negotiations, the EU repeatedly ruled out a New Zealand-style veterinary agreement. Why will it be different this time just because Labour is asking? Have you spoken to Brussels about this? Have they given you any guarantees? And won't you in the end simply agree to align with EU rules? Thank you.
Well, look, we're now some way from deciding to leave the European Union. We don't want to relitigate the bitter debates of the past. We do want to look ahead. I was with Keir Starmer, with all of our European EU ambassadors here in London this morning for breakfast. It was a warm meeting in which there was honest exchange about some of the challenges that both the European Union and our country face at this time, some of which I set out. We do think, and we said this at the time of the government introducing the Northern Ireland Protocol Bill, and a very difficult low period, I think, in our relations with the European Union, that one of the ways you could unlock and move forward was with a veterinary deal. And European colleagues were listening intently to that at this time. It seems to me that if New Zealand and Switzerland can broker such deals, we can as well. We're not naive that any review, negotiation involves trade-offs and discussions, but we do think on a whole range of areas it's not our desire in the Labour Party to reduce standards, and therefore a veterinary deal is something that we can achieve.
Okay, a few things to say about this. First of all, the reason why the EU said no to a New Zealand-style deal was because of volumes. So New Zealand is far away. It's also a very small economy in respect to the United Kingdom. So the volumes coming in are easily checked. This would not be the case when it comes to the United Kingdom. Just think about the quantity of goods moving across the English Channel every day. So this is not even comparable to what's happening between New Zealand and the EU. So the EU had said, no, you can't be like New Zealand because New Zealand is far away and it's a completely different economy. Now, Switzerland is also a different kettle of fish because Switzerland has been a real pain, not Switzerland itself, but the negotiations and the agreements has been a real pain for the EU, and they don't want to go through that again. But this idea that, well, we can just renegotiate something because it's not good doesn't fly either, because I've yet to hear anyone within the EU, both officially or unofficially, claim that the TCA is a problem or that they are not happy with the TCA. The EU seem to be completely content with the TCA. That's the agreement that Boris Johnson signed at the end of 2020. Now, it will be up for review in 2025, but it's not going to be renegotiated. I think that's important for people to understand. It's not up for renegotiation, it's up for review. So they're going to sit down and say, okay, what went well and what didn't go well? And then if there is mutual agreement that something should be changed, then they will change that. But if the EU is saying, no, we're happy with this, then they're not going to change it. The UK can say, well, we would actually like to change these parts, but if the EU say no, then it's not going to change. What's more likely is going to happen is the UK will align. It makes sense in the short term and the medium term. The long term, of course, would be for the UK to rejoin the EU and get back at be back at the table where they are making the rules. But until that happens, the UK will be a rule taker. I don't see how this is going to be any other way. because the EU has not said so far that they have a problem with the TCA, that they're not happy with certain aspects of it, that some parts should be renegotiated. No, I have not heard anyone say such a thing, be it officially or unofficially. So if the EU is happy and the UK isn't, then it's going to stay as it is. So I think what's more likely is the UK will move closer to EU alignment on standards, and until the British public and their politicians decide, actually, we should be at the table making the rules, not taking the rules, then things are going to be as they are. Look, I understand that Labour want to put a positive spin on this, but I think they're acting outside reality. Or maybe they're just being overly hopeful. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.